Wait, hold on. Is this Black Country New Road? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to John W. Speaks. I'm your host, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Cambridge experimental post-rock outfit Black Country New Road emerged from the ashes of nervous conditions, with Isaac Wood, Tyler Hyde, Lewis Evans, Georgia Ellery, May Kershaw, and Charlie Wayne, reforming under the Black Country New Road banner, performing on the underground circuit in London into the late 2010s. Luke Mark joined in 2019, and the lineup was fully loaded at this point, with an epic 9-minute single in Sunglasses putting them on the map, at least when it came to major music publications. Following their signing to Ninja Tune, the band released their debut record for the first time in early 2021, embedding a stylistically ornate variety of sounds and subgenres. The next year was followed up with Ants From Up There, taking a page out of the Arcade Fire, Bon Iver, and Sufjan Stevens playbook, with grandiose, highly ambitious storytelling and sprawling, eclectic instrumentation, which has only aged better and better over the course of the last couple years. However, right before this album's release, vocalist and guitarist Isaac Wood departed the band, citing mental health issues, and many wonder what the future would hold for this new reformatted lineup. With a covers EP and a live record, the band teased new tunes, eventually leading to the announcement of their first album post Wood's departure, Forever How Long, a detailed tribute to introspection and growth, soundtracked by the most intriguing indie rock experimentation you'll hear all year. Helmed by English producer James Ford, who's known for his notable work with Arctic Monkeys, Blur, and other legendary English indie rock acts like Pulp and Pet Shop Boys, there's a newfound pop sensibility embedded into these tracks that didn't fully exist in previous Black Country New Road records. The massive, sweeping mix on the opener Besties turns us upside down immediately, with the emphasis on the harpsichord, plopping us into an entrancing instrumental experience. And that's a trend that continues in the production aesthetic of this record, where it sounds huge and all-encompassing, while allowing space for singular flourishes, featuring jovial keys and plucky guitars, all amid its wide-ranging instrumentation. The Baroque elements of Socks and Salem Sisters are theatrically bold, the country tinge of Mary is simple yet elusively strange, and the decadence of the dynamics found in Happy Birthday exemplify Ford's brilliant segmentation of the radiance of each particular component of the album's construction. For the Cold Country is also an incredible musical achievement and one of the best songs of the decade so far, mainly because of its wildly incomparable post-rock movements and its approach to undulation in its composition, and that bleeds into the down-tempo alt-rock foundations of Nancy Tries to Take the Night, the stark folk of the title track, and the Beatles-inspired maximalism of the closer Goodbye, Tell Me. And it's all these consecutive wins that show off how the penchant for slicker, more accessible combinations of instrumental embellishments, both from the band and from James Ford, have enlivened the Black Country New Road brand that doesn't reset its mystique but enhances it instead. Though the song structures of this record might vary in patience and mileage, and to be fair, there are moments where the end goals seem aimless, Forever How Long does strongly benefit from ingenious storytelling and relatable themes that made listeners fall in love with Black Country New Road in the first place. For the Cold Country is absolutely spellbinding, utilizing the world of medieval knighthood as a background canvas to tell this behemoth of a story about self-critique and ultimately self-discovery, and truly it's one of the most complexly written songs of the 2020s. And that bombast carries over into many other large-scale experiments here, like the cheeky social anxiety horror of Salem Sisters, and the spiritual rebirth in light of smothering domestication on the Big Spin. Plus, given that the writing style behind the scenes needed to change due to the departure of Wood, Wayne, Ellery, Hyde, and Kershaw find new pockets of collaboration and group work in the establishment of the album's thematic material, and it really shows how hard they worked on it. While some of the compositional pieces might test patience, like I said before, especially Socks and Two Horses and their progressions, the strong proclivity from the band to wade into unfamiliar waters as they double down on niche metaphorical storytelling that's fearless, raw, and endlessly explorative, it leads to some of their best work yet.
I tap as I talk.
Departures of main vocalists and bands have had drastic impacts on those said bands, much like Black Sabbath and Van Halen. The common denominator there is necessary reinvention versus complete dissolution, and I applaud Black Country New Road for navigating this discomfort with the utmost confidence and subversion. Georgia Ellery sounds sublime on Besties and Two Horses, while May Kershaw is otherworldly and angelic on the Big Spin and For the Cold Country, as both vocalists strike delicate balances of extravagance and solemnity. But that doesn't hit nearly as hard without the magnificent talent that's bursting from the seams from the band, whether that's Lewis Evans' sax, or his clarinet and flute runs, May Kershaw's stunning use of the accordion and the harpsichord, Luke Mark's vacillation between different styles of guitar tones, and the orchestral blueprint that ties it all together from Georgia Ellery. However, I think the instrumental MVP here is Charlie Wayne, serving as a unique fulcrum due to his scattered, overwhelming dexterity and percussive arrangement, guiding the rhythm forward with crushing drum patterns, and a patient culmination of elements that communicates with the flourishes that the rest of the band indulges in as well. So it leads to such a balanced amalgamation of sounds that feel so lived in and kinetic. At 11 tracks and 52 minutes, you could argue that the only hang-up with this album is its pacing and forward momentum, as nearly a third of the track listing here stretches past 6 minutes long. About half of those bigger, more ambitious tracks don't quite connect, with Socks and Two Horses stunning the progression of the early portions of the record, and that doesn't mean they're bad songs. Honestly, I think they're truly brilliant, but their comparatively trudging pace is just not nearly as interesting as Besties or The Big Spin, or Salem Sisters and Mary in the first half. The back half of this record, though, is absolutely astonishing. Happy Birthday is an eclectic smash. For the Cold Country, Nancy Tries to Take the Night, and the title track are masterful pieces of experimental folk rock. And the Britpop touches of the closer, Goodbye Tell Me, lends the project a triumphant final curtain call that's enthralling, anthemic, and emotionally resonant, much like the rest of this record. Admittedly, the Isaac Wood era of Black Country New Road didn't quite connect with me on a musical level, and objectively, their first two records are stunning pieces of art, but I think Forever How Long is the work of a band finding who they are, while also re-establishing their brand and their identity, and that's a lovely experience to be a part of. But hey, that's just my perspective. If you're a Black Country New Road fan, this is a new beginning that's really special, and if you're in the mood for an expansive, experimental alternative folk rock record, full of delightfully grand instrumentals and heartfelt storytelling, you gotta check this one out. Alright, that's all I got. Bye!